in your estimation, what is the biggest challenge right now for college football to start the season on time?
There's so many challenges. I think the biggest, in listening to a lot of the folks I've talked to, is trying to get everybody on the same page. I think every morning the Power 5 conference commissioners do a Zoom call to try to be, on the same page, to try to be unified. And when they come up with this plan, so I think you're hopeful, but it'd be great to have a commissioner that oversaw the whole sport and that would help listen to each of the conference commissioners and then maybe make some decisions. But I think that's a concern. And then the other thing, Chris, is to me, it's the fear of the unknown. Dr. Gee said guys are going to get this, and they are. But to what degree? I mean, is it asymptomatic? Is it a little bit of a flu? Is it, is it in the hospital? So I think it's the fear of the unknown that I think probably scares most of the presidents, the ADs, and the conference commissioners.
Talking to the players, Kirk, they really feel like it's impossible for the virus not to spread if one of them gets it because of the close physical contact of football, the sheer size of the rosters, much bigger than any other sport we're talking about. So you're right, the problem is very complicated. You have to remember, the football people are not the decision makers in this. It's the governors and the mayors. The ones who shut down businesses are the ones that are going to open them back up. And you're right, they're in completely different pages in different parts of the country. And even within some of these conferences, like the ACC, for example, which spans Boston and New York State and Pennsylvania down to Miami.
And it's interesting because you're right. The governing bodies here, and you're talking about once you get outside of local politics, you've got school presidents and those not affiliated with university sports. But here's the one decision that I think is going to be interesting, gentlemen, because you both did a part of College Game Day. Chris, you're, of course, the host from 90 to 2014. Herbie, you've been on the show since 2006. I've been very vocal about this, whether or not fans should be a part of games this year because they're such an integral part of the sport. Kirk, what are your thoughts on games being played without fans?
If it comes to that, then it comes to that. I mean, here we are, what in middle of May? My guess would be if you had fans, are you going to just open it up and allow fans to be fans, which is tailgating and on top of each other and cheering? And, are you going to let 25% of the stadium be full? Are you going to let 50% of the stadium be full? As we sit here right now, it seems like there's been progress in the last, 5 to 7 days during this phase one. There seems to be feedback that's been somewhat positive. And that's just 5 days of this. You imagine where we potentially could be by the time we get to the middle of August or end of August. I mean, you're still talking about 3 months. But if it comes to it, I guess we would have games without fans. But, man, I know you guys love the sport like I do. Cannot imagine college football without fans in the stadium.
And Chris, it's because Herbie hasn't aged a day since 1996 when he joined College Game Day, not 2006. Your thoughts on fans in the stands?
Well, I'm with Kirk. We're sitting here in May. We were told May would sort of be the deadline to figure out if we could start the season on time. Now that we've arrived in mid to late May, they're saying, well, wait a minute, we can decide in July. It's smart to push the decision off until the last minute. But, look, we're looking at lesser of evils. There's no perfect situation here. There's no risk-free solution. So if you have to have empty stadiums and the colleges decide it's worth putting players and staff at risk to play in empty stadiums to get the TV money, and that's why they do it, let's be honest, they wouldn't get that ticket revenue. And a lot of schools very much rely on fans buying tickets and donations tied to fans buying tickets. So they'd use a huge percentage of their revenue out the window if they played in empty stadiums. They would do so for TV money. The players all say that would be very strange, but they'd adapt to it. I think fans want to see football, whether it's crowded or empty, but it certainly more than any other sport would make college football feel very different.
Herbie, I find that you have an interesting perspective here. Your twin sons play at Clemson. So as a parent, what do you want to see done that would make your situation comfortable for your family?
I guess, of course, they're my sons, but I really look at all the players, I I don't want to say they're all my sons, but I care about them all. Like, I don't want to just be like, well, for my kids, we should have these rules, but for everyone else, let's do whatever we got to do. I look at everybody really the same, my 2 kids included. They're going back, May 31st. They haven't been in their apartment since they went to spring break in the middle of March. We've been quarantined, so they still have to move out, and their move-out date is June 2nd. So they're, as of right now, as far as Clemson's concerned, they're going to go there May 31st, move out of their current apartment on June 2nd, and then kind of see how things are progressing, I think, the first couple weeks of June when it comes to workouts. I am one of these guys who trusts, in this case, Dabo Swinney, his staff, his doctors, the advice that they're getting from the experts. I think they're going to err on the side of caution, at the same time trying to walk that fine line between that they need to move forward, right? They need to start working out. They need to think that they're going to have potentially a season, and you can't sit idle as you do that. So I have trust and confidence as a parent in the doctors and the trainers and the leaders in the ACC and in Clemson as a parent. But like I said, I don't look through 2 different lenses through,
Sure.
College football and then, my 2 kids. I look at it all the same.
And I know we all look at this the same. We want college football in the fall. It's the sport we all love. And I know just for the fact that we've been quarantined, Fowler just wants to be done doing yard work. He can be back in the booth, and everything will be all well and good. Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler with us this afternoon. Gentlemen, we appreciate your time and your perspective on SportsCenter.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.